It's so much harder to say out loud. Like, I swear, I've thought about this for years, but it's so much worse trying to say it out loud. I'm actually like shaking, my dude. I don't do serious videos. For those who are in a sensitive state of mind, are in recovery, or are easily triggered, please click away from this video. For those who continue watching, if this video upsets you in any way, please feel free to message me, and stay safe, everyone. Due to a recent tragedy that has befallen me and my group of friends, my attention has been brought to the negligence that surrounds those of suicide. As far as suicide goes, yes, there's been a worldwide pandemic for the past few years surrounding the awareness of suicide itself. Suicide hotlines are plastered on every social media. Internet celebrities have become ambassadors for other communities as well as pertaining to those of mental health. Despite all the attention and the alternative coping mechanisms, suicide rates remain stoic. Age range lowers, and those left traumatized by suicide are increasing daily. We have support for those barely managing mental health and battling suicidal thoughts, but what about the friends, the family, the significant others that are left after a suicide? Who represents these people? Could we prevent further suicides simply by acknowledging them and helping them find an alternative way to cope? I believe that awareness brings action. Think of the amount of suicides within a year. These persons have a family, a mother, a father, 2 moms, 2 dads, step-families, step-siblings, siblings in general, and some are just the only child. And typically those lost are high school to college goers, thus leading me to wonder what happens to their friends, their study groups, acquaintances, co-workers, exes, in short, anybody that they've had an impact on. This leads to an unfathomable amount of sufferers. This is a touchy subject for all internet kids. Think of an internet friend that you were immensely close to, that you just had lost contact with over the years. What's happened to them? Will you ever know? Will you get that closure? For argument's sake, let's just say you do. What becomes of you then? Most of the population doesn't include internet friends as real or proper. Thus, who do you go to? Who do you talk to? I wish I could provide a positively influenced answer, but reality is, when faced with this kind of tragedy, most of us are often left dealing with it alone. We don't want to be a nuisance to the family, we don't want to worry our friends, and we don't want to drag anyone down with us. I can't look at the camera when I say this. Personally, I bear witness 3 different suicides of friends that were decently close, to say the least, for our relationships. After the initial shock and disbelief wore off, I was to cope. I was to find my own way to process the information, my own way to make amends, my own way to make myself believe that I was, or one day would be, okay. I was alone during all of that time, and I didn't really talk to anybody, so I just kind of was there for support for everybody else. I was there to support other people that were traumatized by this tragedy, but I was left alone to cope by myself. However, the most recent suicide has been handled differently. I've had multiple people message me just to make sure that I knew, just to check up on me, and just so that way I would know that there were people there to support me. And I took action to message everybody and make sure they were okay, and make sure that they knew that I was there for them. Throughout all of these messages and calls, it's this connection. Throughout all of this communication, we all knew that there was a certain connection to those affected. Yes, it still hurts. No, none of us are okay by any means, but at least we know we aren't alone in this struggle. No matter the situation, I always believe that it's best to just get things off your chest and never bottle them up. And the easiest way to succeed in this is just by simply talking to people. Talking about the tragedy is going to be hard, but talking about it can lead to talking about the good times. It can lead to cleansing the wound, therefore it can heal properly, and there would never be no reason to revisit the cause. There is no correct or proper way to cope or support those suffering. But the wrong way is always ignorance. Being ignorant to those that suffer daily, being ignorant to the amount of pain somebody's in, being ignorant to their reality is never the way. The best way to avoid ignorance is to be curious. Ask them. Yes, it may hurt them. Yes, it may make them break down and lash out, but feeling now will be healing later. Those we've lost are not victims, because in reality, we're all victims to our mind. We are nothing but a composure of memories, which makes us who we are today, thoughts, which occupy our time for the temporary moment, and projections for the future. Our minds are our dictators, some loving and caring, others unforgiving and needing to be impeached, and all the in-between. All unique, an individual, yet working together can create a network. A safety net, if you will, not only for ourselves, but for future survivors of suicide. We can hope and pray and will for a future free of all suicides. But currently, we need to band together and find a solution to help aid those who are trying to cope, because they bear witness to this gruesome alternative end to one's life. I think that was me whenever I first found out about the first suicide. A year after that, ironic, a year after that, I dealt with the second suicide, and that one was traumatic, but I feel like I was too busy helping other people with their emotions that I didn't really get to focus on my own. And then this is 2 years later and I find out about him. I feel like I'm already kind of used to dealing with it, and I already know how to help other people with it. Again, I still feel like I'm more worried about everybody else and how they're coping with it than I am myself. I don't even know where to begin, because it's not something you can put into words. There's no way to put anything into words to make it sound as personally attached as it needs to. There's never enough words you can say, because basically you're already out of time. It literally have an entire lifetime of words that I could have said to him, but no longer can. But I think I'm just gonna stick with, Thomas, you are already severely missed. And if anyone else needs, message me if you need consultation. And just live on, be knowledgeable, and much love, everyone.